Colin Brendan here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, and as promised, it's 10 things we hate about Iron Maiden. But honestly, the word hate can't be used with this band. It is at best mildly dislike, and it is nitpicky as fuck. But as always, if you watch this series regular, we double these videos up. It's love and hate, 10 things. So we have to do it, even if it is painful. So you start the love, I will start the hate. And this is more the fan base. And it's kind of that reaction you get. It's the shock and horror that comes your way if you're like, yeah, I'm not really a Maiden fan. People are like, the fuck? What? How can't you be? And then start to explain to you why you should love them. But they're like the best British heavy metal band. They're great. They're one of the legends. What about this track? What about this track? It's like, listen, I know all this. It's just they never resonate with me, and they still haven't. And it's like you end up having to defend your position where it's like, look, I think they're great. I think they're a great band. I really like them. I just don't love them. I'm not putting a Maiden shirt on because it's not what, you know, that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I also agree that these are going to be tough.
Yes.
So I'm going to start off with Blaze Bayley. No, I'm not a massive fan of Blaze Bayley, but I do think the man deserves some respect and has a decent voice. I get he was different, but I just feel like he gets an awful lot of the stick for his time in Maiden from the fan base, obviously, where often the albums that he was involved in are rated as their worst albums. But you know, the weird thing about it is, it's not like he ousted Bruce. Yeah, Bruce quit.
Yeah.
Bruce left. He wanted to go solo.
And he auditioned.
Yeah, he auditioned and the band chose him and he stepped up to the mark. You don't have to love the man, but I don't think he quite deserves the disdain he gets either just because he isn't Bruce.
Amazingly, I have it as well. I'm a Blaze Bayley fan. I think the man is incredibly talented and has had an incredible career. And I think his contributions to Iron Maiden are highly underrated. His 2 albums, The X Factor and Virtual 9, they're decent albums. I realize if you want to hold them up against the classic Maiden catalog and stuff like that, you will always find faults with that. And I understand they're not great sellers and things like that because it was a difficult period for Maiden. But he's Blaze Bayley. He's a great vocalist. He was stepping into difficult shoes. And obviously when Bruce came back, is arguably, you know, another high point of Maiden's career. But to say Blaze Bayley was shit in Maiden is insane. Insane.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So it's weird this because a lot of people always kind of reference the fact that when you were younger or when I was younger, you had to make a choice. It almost felt like between whether you were a Megadeth or a Metallica fan. But I also remember being younger and it being a similar thing between you were either Maiden or Metallica. It was rare to be both. And I think it's still quite rare to be both. I think Maiden fans often scorn at Metallica fans and vice versa.
Agreed.
You know, so it's not Maiden's fault. It's not something I hate about the band that they've done. But I guess, I don't know, I always try and like work out why I never got into Maiden. And I wonder if that was purely because I was on the Metallica train and it was the thing back then. So I guess I hate that scenario, the fact that at least a point in time, it was almost common to choose. There's 5 big guys. Which one are you going to like?
Yeah.
You know?
No, of course, we've talked about wars between these sort of bands as well. And what you're saying does resonate with me because it's vaguely familiar to me as well.
Yeah.
It just, that whole you must choose a side thing is wank. So fuck them. They're a dying breed of big bands. That's it. You know, they are one of the few massive scale arena, I keep saying arena, stadium selling bands that we have. So much so that I generally wonder, and I generally am concerned about the future of Download when they're unable to book Iron Maiden anymore. You know, what the hell are they going to do after that? Because after Maiden, what is left? And you're like, oh shit, that's actually really it, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going to do now. Just close up, quit. Fucking holograms.
Taylor Swift, headliner.
Yeah. So I guess the first one that'll probably get me in trouble with fans a little bit, but inconsistency across albums. Now,
I think that's fair.
Yeah, this is more for like, obviously it's a personal taste thing, but and I know I'm not a huge fan, so you know maybe if I dug deeper I might feel differently. But you know I just think for me there's very few Maiden albums that I've listened to, maybe none, that I like from start to finish.
Cool. All right.
I think there are plenty. pretty much every album I could probably pick songs on, and some of the albums I can pick 90% of the album. But I think I always find something where I'm like, this one's not for me. You know, so for me, I find songs across an album inconsistent. You know, so
no, I agree. I couldn't name you one album where I'm like beginning to end that is pure class. I couldn't do that. It's why we've kind of talked about the fact that we do want to try and get to Maiden when we're able to in the future, but we're so insistent on, look, it's got to be a best of. It's got to be a show where it's kind of planned that way rather than being an album tour, because it's unlikely we're going to enjoy that as much as we would. All right, sweet. We're going to get a 15 track, 18 track best of Maiden. That is right up our street, you know?
Yeah.
We talked about Blaze Bayley, and I mentioned him. It's Paul Di'Anno vocals. Now, this is where I'm like, criticism is probably fair. It's not my jam at all. The two albums he's on, Iron Maiden and Killers, to me are just okay albums at best. I know Killers has got a couple of hits on it, but like Paul Di'Anno does very little for me. But it's proper like, oh yeah, you went up when you got Bruce off the that, you know?
Yeah. Agreed. Quite similar to my last one here, but also, as well as inconsistencies, I think across albums I often find them to be occasionally repetitive. So, you know, again, and I know this is again that whole I haven't dug deep enough, and that's probably true, but what I know, you know, the style and structure of the songs across an album, probably rightly because it's a concept that they're doing at the time, are often very, very similar. You know, I can listen to a full album, I can come out thinking one or two songs there that are bangers, and the rest of them it's all pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, just repeated. It's just just the way they come across to me, unfortunately.
Oh, I agree. Again, it's hard to argue with that. So in my, like, as it's getting difficult to do 10 things I hate about this band, I'm like, let me look a bit into it. Let me see if they've done dick things. They haven't really. It's Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
But I did come across this interesting tidbit that I never knew before, and it shocked me. So imagine the bands from the heyday, the 80s particular period, who could have been branded as Satanists. And you're like, well, Priest, I can see that. Oh, I could Black Sabbath, obviously. You know, a couple of other bands like that. I would never put Iron Maiden in that list in a million fucking years. But in 1982, because of one particular track, The Number of the Beast, they did get publicly branded as Satanists, which is fucking insane when you think about the content of Iron Maiden stuff. But I was just like, that is so fucking stupid. Humans are stupid. We should all be dead.
Yep, and we actually cross over completely. I did the exact same thing you did. I was trying to find anything that Maiden had done that I could dislike, and it was like, oh my god, you guys, fucking do something wrong.
Yeah.
And I saw the same, and there was all these posts about the satanic references of Iron Maiden. And I was like, what? This is fucking mental.
Absolutely.
So yeah, 100% on the same as you on that one.
Yeah. Okay. Picking holes again. Why the fuck did Maiden agree to allow Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter to be featured on the soundtrack of A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child? And what really grinds my gears on this is, first, I never knew this because obviously it's on the soundtrack, and I've seen these movies a lot. We've even done an in-depth about the Nightmare on Elm Street series. But when I was like, why that track on that film? So this is the one about the baby, she's pregnant, and Freddie starts to go use the dreams of the child to come back to life. So naturally, you would think, well, obviously, daughter, right? Bring your daughter to the slaughter. She's pregnant with a girl. It's not. It's a boy. The boy's name is Jacob. How does this work? Why does this work? What?
Well, I guess the son doesn't rhyme with slaughter, so
that just was like, it's so stupid and stupid in the hate. Yeah. I was like, come on, man, that doesn't even work. Yes.
Yeah. Well, talking about stupid things to hate. I am not a fan of Bruce's arm gauntlet.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's always bothered me that he wears it, because I've always seen those big black fucking studded bracelets as more of a black metal thing. And then Bruce will be there in like a white t-shirt, a pair of jeans, and a huge fucking arm gauntlet covered in studs, and it's like, what are you wearing them for?
Oh mate. Oh, I can picture it exactly. I can picture a promo shot of him with that big ass fucking gauntlet. Yeah. Oh, like, you know, it looks like fucking Varg Varkanis in his early shit, right?
That's what it is. That's why it's like, yeah, but like he's took his corpse paint off and he's really Bruce Dickinson.
As you've mentioned clothes, I'm going into it. man, if there's something that offends me the most about Maiden, it is those early promo shots of those tight leather pants that Bruce was particularly wearing. The fuck, skinny ass legs, super tight. It's just offensive. That's it.
We don't need to see all that shit.
No.
Okay, this is, I guess, kind of ties in a little bit better with the ones we were saying a bit earlier on. But when we went with the occult reference things, but one of the things that annoyed me about Maiden, one of the things I hate about Maiden, is simply the fact that there's just like nothing negative. It fucking irritates the hell out of me. It's like there's nothing to discuss. There's nothing to debate. There's, everything's just okay. No one dislikes them. No one hates them. There's no opinion on current events. There's no, this guy's left wing, this guy's right wing. There's just nothing. It's like, fucking hell, you bland bastards.
This is awesome. This is actually fucking funny. Okay, hopefully these will be a bit more serious. So I found out a few days back when I was doing this that I didn't know this existed, called Ed Hunter, a video game. And I was like, this has got to be available online. Let me find it. Let me at least try it. Let me play a level and see what it is like. What the fuck? This game is wank. This game is crap. And it's basically various levels, that's supposed to be sort of themed on Maiden stuff like East London, psychiatric hospital, hell, and all that. All apparently lifted from the covers of Maiden's albums. But bear in mind, this is a very old game, so it looks like absolute shit. And it's just shooting enemies, but it's on rails, which was really fucking annoying as well. So like, it's super easy to play on a PC because you don't even really need to use a fucking mouse because it's on rails. But what really bothered me, and seems to bother a lot of people online as well, is that you can select tracks to play in the background. One song for each level, just one song. And the levels don't last the length of that song. So that song ends and off it goes again and again. And you're like, are you fucking for real, guys? This isn't making me enjoy. I'm hating the songs now. I want to mute the fucking game. It's a shit game, but it's one of those where it's like, great idea. And they kind of would do another mobile game late a couple of years back called Legacy of the Beast, which, while being free to play, I think's okay, a little bit more fun and stuff like that. But yeah, back then it's just like, this was stupid and you could have really done a lot fucking more. Kiss Pinball did a lot better, Yeah. So Ed Hunter sucks. Bad choice.
Yep. And the next one, it's not really their fault whatsoever. But I kind of hate the fact that I never really got on board the train. I look at it from an outside perspective and I think like I should adore Maiden. I should, this proper metal, guitar driven, nice band, no bullshit with them. Great shows, merchandise, UK band. On paper, there's absolutely no reason why these guys I shouldn't be absolutely obsessed with them.
Yeah.
And it annoys the hell out of me that I'm not, because I wish I was. I do. I wish I could go out there and get all the fucking different Ed t-shirts and a big Maiden back patch and be one of those guys at the gig, and go and be excited about a Maiden album coming out and go and see a huge fucking Maiden show. That would be awesome. And I don't really understand why it never worked, why it never clicked for me.
And it never will.
No.
At this stage, it never will. That's the simple fact of it.
And I hate them for it. It's all their fault.
Yeah, don't take this list too seriously. But I am going to pick in a song. And it's simply, if I never hear this song again, I'll probably die happy. It's Run to the Hills. Run to the Hills. It's one of those overplayed songs I just never want to hear again. So yeah, that's it. Simple as that. Pick and hold.
Yep. And now I'm really, really at the bottom of the barrel. So the first one I'm going to go for is West Ham. Okay, truthfully, I don't really care much these days. Back in the day when I was a bit more of a dedicated Arsenal fan, but their allegiance to a small town rival club would have really, really bothered me. I don't know, maybe that was part of the reason. Maybe it was because I was a huge Arsenal fan.
Maybe.
Back then, maybe I wasn't interested in the Irons.
Up the Irons.
Yeah. But yeah, there you go. With my struggling little list, I'm just going to blame them for being West Ham fans.
Well, my last one also touches upon West Ham, but in a different aspect. And it's simple like this. Can you not fucking bring football into my metal, please? Fuck football. Fuck the rich man's game. Oh, it's for the fans, but it's going to cost you £2,000 to watch your team play. And this player costs 50 fucking million, and you lot are idiots while he gets paid 250 grand and you're booing because he missed kicking the fucking ball. Screw football. Can't stand it these days. Although, I used to enjoy watching it in the pub with you guys and stuff like that. I've never supported a team or anything like that. But the idea of being like, yeah, going to metal gig and being like, West Ham. It's like, no, please, no.
Yeah, they even did like
everything. Can we not bring it to metal, please?
They even like collaborated, didn't they? There's like Iron Maiden West Ham shirts and stuff like that.
Go on, Maiden, cover Forever Blowing Bubbles or something like that. That was great, wasn't it? Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Just leave football out of it.
My last one then is really like, this is outside of the barrel so far. So I just wrote fencing. It's just about the most unmetal hobby of all time, fencing.
Who's a fencer?
Bruce.
Oh, of course it's Bruce.
He's but also champion level. And the song "The Duelist" is written about his love of fencing. But yeah, there you go, fencing. I mean, seriously, he'd be like, "Gauntlet, brah." Oh.
He's a champion now, so he must be fucking good at it.
He's one of those guys, and he's like entrepreneur level. I think they're called a polymath, where they're basically just fucking experts at multiple avenues.
Makes sense.
To the point where they get bored, so they just go off and become something else and become a champion at that, and then go, oh, now what shall I do? I'll fly a fucking plane.
As we said, it was going to be a fucking struggle. We've done the best we can. It's hard that there's nothing to hate about this band, but it's been fun. So let us know if you've got some actual serious ones. Let us know in the comments, or if you want to just say up the irons, do that as well. Why not? Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?